tell me a little bit about your podcast.
Podcast is called Two Old Bitches. I do it with my longtime friend Idalise Malave, my co-bitch. And that's the thing. That's why I'm so, like, we are so into what we wear, how we dress, how we present, we go on, like, we just went on an amazing shopping trip in Mexico City.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Let's get right into it. What is the biggest challenge you've had in your life?
The biggest challenge in my life the biggest challenge in my life, I guess, is voice. Mm-hmm. Is really about finding what it is that's important to say and having the courage to say it. Mm-hmm. Because I think for many people, but certainly for a lot of women of my generation, there were a lot of messages about not saying and not projecting yourself, mm-hmm. and finding a way to be gentle and kind, which is important. I mean, that is still important. Mm-hmm. And yet, especially in these times, it's so important to speak from your heart and to say what you see, mm-hmm. and to be courageous. And
yeah. Do you give a fuck about what people think of you?
Yeah, I definitely give a fuck. Otherwise, why would I dress this way? I mean, I don't think you dress the way I and some of my friends dress if you're mm-hmm. not trying to say something.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, I think you think very carefully about mm-hmm. what you wear. Like, it's interesting, during COVID, I don't know about you all, but I know a lot of people and there was a lot of stuff on social media about not wearing bras and being in your sweatpants all day. Mm-hmm. Like, that was never an option for me. Mm-hmm. I get up every morning and I get dressed. Mm-hmm. My closet speaks to me.
Yeah.
What would you say you're trying to, like, what's the message you want to give with what you wear and how you present?
Well, that's what's really complicated. Partly, the message I want to give is I don't give a fuck. Like, I am wearing what I want to wear because first I have to please me.
That's amazing.
But so it's a very complicated message because I have to please me. Mm-hmm. That is the first thing. And I do please myself. I mean, I have to have fun getting dressed in the morning. And I feel like that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't care what the fashion is. I don't care what, I have a particular style and I dress to that style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you were 30 again, what would you maybe do differently?
Well, I just read this quote that said, like, as you get older, you don't regret the things that you did, you regret the things that you didn't do. And I think Mark Twain or somebody like that said it. And I guess the only thing I would do differently is I'm pretty non-judgmental. I try to be non-judgmental and give people space. I would be more overtly and assertively kind. I would just be more loving. I would understand love is revolutionary and I would practice it more.
Yeah. So how has sex and relationships changed for you as you've gotten older?
Well, I think, I've never really believed in, it's interesting because I always identified as bisexual, and then the language of pansexual mm-hmm. came in, which sounded so much more correct to me than bisexual, because bi is binary and pan means
mm-hmm.
so much more expansive.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's really changed so much as I have a much better frame now mm-hmm. for my sexuality, which was never a conventional sexuality.
Yeah.
So that's been wonderful. Mm-hmm. And I thank your generation for that.
What is your secret to a happy life?
Well, happiness has never really been a big goal for me, but I guess the thing is that you really have to take the time to listen and connect with yourself and understand what feeds you and what helps you grow and what makes you feel whole in the world. And then you have to be able to hear what other people have to say about that, because people always have something to say about it.
Yes.
And just move on in your life. Do what resonates for you. Really believe in yourself.
Yeah. Do you have kids?
No.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I have a lot of kids in my life.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky that my brother and sister and my friends had kids. So I really thank them for that.
Yeah.
I think that I made the right decision not to have children, right? I think that for two reasons, really. One, because I felt from a very young age there are enough children in the world. Like, I don't need my own. I can be with kids that don't come out of, my body.
Yeah.
And also because just given the way the world is right now and how challenging it is, I think it would have taken a huge amount of my energy to, I'm too empathetic, so my life would have stopped, I feel, to be able to encompass what children needed.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I feel pretty good about it, I have to say.
Yeah. Do you get shit from people for not having kids?
I don't get shit. You get attitude. I just don't pay that much attention to it. Yeah, it's always weird, especially because I've worked in transnational feminist work for most of my life, for the past 50 years, and so I travel a lot all over the world, and especially in other cultures. New York is very different, right? But in other places you go and the first question people ask you as a woman is, how many kids do you have? Where are your kids? And so that's not shit, but it's an expectation that you have to constantly be saying, I don't have kids, and then people are kind of thinking, what's wrong with you? But
yeah. So why New York?
Why New York?
Yeah.
Why do I live in New York?
Yeah.
Oh, I just love New York. I've lived how long have you guys lived here?
My whole life.
You've lived here your whole life?
Me too.
You too? You both lived, you were born in New York?
Yeah.
Wow. So you know why New York,
Yeah.
right? Where else can you live? I mean, we're very lucky. We just live in the greatest city ever.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I guess, to be fair, the answer to why New York is because New York has a thrum. It has a beat. It has a
soul here.
It's a soul, right? And you only feel... I've only ever felt New York in New York. You only feel that noise. Like when you walk out of your house, you can almost feel the beat of New York. And I miss that so much whenever I'm away.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Do you tell your inner critic to fuck off, or do you let it ruminate? What's your...
We wrestle. Sometimes she wins. Yes, absolutely. I can't tell my inner critic to fuck off. I need to at least give her an opportunity to have her say, and then deal with her. And isn't that what your friends are for? Like, right?
Yes.
You have to just
All about the
do
different
that thing.
opinions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to excavate it. You have to figure out where it's living, why it's there, and then you have to coexist somehow.
Yeah. Too many questions?
You mentioned your podcast.
Yes,
about
Two Old
that.
Bitches.
How did it start? Like, what was your inspiration for that?
So, my friend, my co-bitch, Ida Lise, and I, we'd been working in like social justice organizations and stuff for many years, and then we both retired, not really retired, but we were doing consulting. We didn't have full-time jobs anymore. And Ida was really like feeding her artistic instincts, and she was painting and doing all this stuff. And then she decided to do this art project called Who's That Old Bitch, and ask all of her friends to write about the parts of their bodies that were most surprising to them as they age.
Wow.
And so that was happening. And then we were talking about how we were retired, but what does retirement mean when you're like us and you're still kind of working, but you don't have a full-time job anymore? And And so we thought about writing a book, and then we went to see a friend who's a book agent, and we were like, that sounds way too boring. And then I said, why don't we do a podcast? And Ide said, what's a podcast? And I said, I have no idea, but it sounds like something we could do. And then it just so happened that we ran into someone the next day who knew what a podcast was, and she helped us.
You enjoy doing it?
We love doing it. We're on our 9th season.
Oh, wow.
We've done, I think we've done 89 episodes, either 79 or 89 episodes. And yeah, we just love it.
Wow.
We love it.
Yeah.
Two old bitches.
Yeah. We'll check it out, certainly.
Oh, but when we say bitch, we mean being in total charge of herself.
Oh,
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the same thing with broads.
Yeah.
Broads and bitches.
What are
Yep.
broads? Being in total charge of herself.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. What is one thing that makes you happy in life?
So many things make me happy.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, happiness isn't real. But I mean, so many things make me excited and passionate and alive, feel alive. I would say right now, today, I'm 72 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I have been so lucky to be working on gender equality and women's rights globally for the past 45 years. And I have so many sisters and brothers and siblings from all over the world. And so, yeah, it's connection that makes me happiest.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
the connections with my friends and family and people like you that I meet on the street that just
Yeah.
make me the happiest.
Yeah. When have you felt the most sexually free in your life? What's the story?
The story, ironically, it was when I would say it was in the 70s, in the mid 70s, when I was like a hippie. I mean, it's very trite. It's very not surprising, right? I was hitchhiking around in Europe and Israel, and total freedom. Total freedom, it was before cell phones, it was before, right? So I could be living in the Sinai desert. Nobody knew where I was, nobody cared where I was.
Yeah.
Right? And I could just be living in a nudist colony in the desert, or, living in a whatever. It was just incredibly free.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were lucky.
They say, wow.
I've seen him a lot.
Do you have any other questions?
No.
Are we good?
Wow,
Yeah?
yes, that was amazing. We
Thank
have
you
a card.
so much. Yeah.
We have a